Water flow, pressure, and tamper switches and notification appliances are all essential elements of a sprinkler monitoring system. But for deluge and pre-action systems, it's the Potter PFC 4410RC releasing panel that controls the water flow or chemical discharge. In this module, we will review the purpose of a releasing panel and the features of the Potter PFC 4410RC releasing panel, and the installation and basic operation of releasing panels with single and double interlock systems. The PFC 4410RC releasing panel is the controller for the releasing system. The panel monitors many different pieces that make up the system. These pieces include the panel, backup batteries, various initiating devices, notification appliances, and electric solenoid. The releasing panel monitors initiating devices by area or zone. The releasing panel's relay contacts are in turn monitored by the main fire alarm panel. Potter offers an addressable releasing panel, PFC 6075R, that can also be used for the same applications. Initiating devices include smoke detectors, linear heat detectors, pull stations, water flow switches, and tamper switches, or other monitors that send a signal to the releasing panel when normal environmental conditions in the zone change. The releasing panel displays 4 status conditions: normal, supervisory, trouble, and alarm. The normal status indicates the system is operating properly. The supervisory signal to the releasing panel indicates an off-normal condition. When a supervisory signal is triggered, a situation exists that needs to be checked out. For example, a supervisory signal may be triggered because a valve is closed, an air pressure change is detected, a water tank level or temperature change, low water pressure is detected, or a low building temperature is detected. A trouble signal on the releasing panel means there's a problem with the control panel or with the wiring that may render the system inoperable. Conditions that could initiate a trouble signal include loss of AC power, loss of battery power, or a break in the supervised wiring to the device. The final releasing panel status is the alarm status, indicating that a fire emergency exists. Conditions that trigger an alarm status include signals from a water flow switch, a smoke or heat detector, or a manual fire alarm or pull station. Releasing systems are basically dry pipe systems that use an electrically operated control valve instead of a dry pipe control valve. There are 3 basic types of releasing systems: single interlock pre-action, double interlock pre-action, and deluge. In a pre-action system, closed sprinklers are attached to a piping system. A small amount of air is contained in the system at a low-pressure supervisory switch, such as the Potter PS40 monitors the air pressure. The water in the system is held back by an electrically operated solenoid valve connected to a UL-listed and FM-approved releasing panel, such as the Potter PFC 4410RC. In a single interlock sprinkler monitoring system, only one device needs to activate in order for the panel to open the solenoid and trigger an alarm status. To avoid false alarms, a pre-action system uses closed sprinklers that are attached to a dry sprinkler system. A small amount of air pressure is applied to the system to ensure the integrity of the pipe and fittings. A low air pressure switch, such as the Potter PS40, is used to supervise the air pressure and indicate too little or too much pressure. Potter smoke or heat detectors are connected to the initiating zone of the release panel, while a Potter pull station is connected to another initiating zone. Activation of either of these zones will trigger an alarm in the releasing system. When the system goes into alarm, the releasing control panel activates a solenoid, which in turn triggers the valve, releasing the water into the system. The water flows into both the sprinkler piping and the alarm line of the valve. When the pressure in the alarm line reaches 6 psi, the pressure type water flow switch trips and the releasing control panel rings the water flow bell. Double interlock systems are designed for unique environments like refrigerated areas or areas where false activation of the system would be extremely dangerous or result in irreparable damage. In order for a double interlock system to discharge water, two independent events must occur. First, the piping must lose air pressure because the sprinkler opens. Then an initiating device, such as a smoke or heat detector or pull station, must be an alarm. These devices are connected to two separate zones in the releasing control panel. This is known as cross-zoning. In a cross-zoning configuration, both the low air switch and the smoke detector must be an alarm at the same time in order for the releasing control panel to trigger the solenoid. A manual pull station can be used to override the cross-zoning and operate the solenoid instantly. In the past, a low air pressure switch with two contacts, such as a PS40-2, had to perform two functions on the double interlock system. One contact on the switch had to be wired to the supervisory zone on the releasing panel, while the second switch had to be wired to the alarm zone. Now, the PFC 4410RC only needs this single low air input. The panel recognizes the low air condition and creates a supervisory condition. Once a detection zone is activated, the panel status changes from supervisory to alarm. There are now two independent events. The solenoid is energized and the system is allowed to dump. This new feature prevents the fire department from being notified during a low air condition. A deluge system differs from pre-action because open nozzles are used instead of closed sprinklers. These nozzles are positioned around a particular hazard, such as a transformer. Initiating devices are connected to the panel, and one or two zones may be used to activate the panel in either a straight release or cross-zoning. Since the nozzles are open, a low air condition cannot be detected. Once the detection zone has been activated, the panel energizes the release circuit to open the solenoid and discharge water through the system. For pre-action sprinkler systems and deluge systems, the Potter PFC 4410RC releasing control panel is the panel of choice. The PFC 4410RC is a microprocessor-based multi-hazard releasing control panel. Allowing for maximum flexibility, the PFC 4410RC features a 32-character alphanumeric LCD display, custom banner and zone description text, menu-driven programming controls, programmable cross-zoning, a 40-event history memory, continuous or timed discharge to control how long the releasing panel will energize the solenoid, and the ability to accommodate up to 3,500 feet or 700 ohms of heat-sensitive cable per zone. For maximum security, the PFC 4410RC also features releasing circuits protected from false activation, password protection, and a supervised microprocessor. Now that you understand the types of systems releasing control panels manage, you're ready to begin the installation process. Here are some general rules that you'll want to follow. First, last, and always, make sure you read, understand, and follow all of the instructions included with the releasing panel. Before leaving for the job site, test and program the panel completely to familiarize yourself with it and ensure proper operation. Remember, never connect or disconnect wiring for circuit boards with the power on. Next, calculate how much power is needed based on the devices that will be included in the system to determine if the power supply and wiring are sufficient. Remember to include your battery calculations to determine the proper battery size for the system as well. You'll want to prepare a detailed drawing of the complete system, including wiring hookup. Place a copy of this drawing in the panel cabinet for future reference. Now, you are ready to install the panel. Select a location that's easily accessible. Then carefully remove the panel and any modules from the cabinet. Next, mount the cabinet, complete all conduit connections, pulling all system wiring throughout the conduit, and tag and mark the wires. It's important to remember that fire circuits cannot be run in the same raceway cable or conduit as high voltage circuits. Now, install the panel and any associated modules in the cabinet. Then check the integrity of the field wiring. Before making any external circuit connections, you'll want to power up the panel using only end-of-line devices. The panel should indicate a normal condition. If so, power the panel down and connect one circuit. Then power up the panel and make sure it returns to a normal condition. You will need to repeat these steps for each circuit to ensure proper operation of each device. This concludes Module 5 of the Potter Sprinkler Monitoring Product Training Program. In this module, we reviewed the purpose of a releasing panel, the features of the Potter PFC 4410RC releasing panel, and the installation and basic operation of releasing panels with single and double interlock systems. If you have any questions about a product or application and can't find the answer in the instructions, please call Potter Electric at 800-325-3936.